Go. So with
I can think.
with the tempo rhythm, I played around the idea of home and being very undecided where to go, what to do, and ended up having some uncomfortable habits. Then when the second metronome came, first the slow metronome was my exterior one, and then the fast metronome was the inner one. So I was tripping a bit on that with some repetitive movements. But then the slow metronome became the interior one, because the fast metronome became the exterior one, and I started walking very fast, and I realized that the faster I walked, I was calming myself. So it was this very primitive, like meditative thing, that the more you run, I felt that I'm escaping everything and at the same time denying everything, and my heartbeat was actually feeling almost happy, because when you run and you do sport, you feel happy even if you're so I was into that. And this insecurity, and because of this insecurity that I was playing with, this is the first time when I felt this mommy kind of need to be next to people. And seeing others running united us, and when I saw Andri carrying the tape, it felt that the tape was holding an answer. So I started copying Andri's so I even, like, no matter what Andri was doing, I was copying him because and mimicking everything, because I felt like, okay, you obviously seem to know what you're doing, you know, or even if you don't, you're trying, so let's try together or something. And it was just nice to be next to a person that was also like, felt you're sharing the same thing. And because I was still in a state of mind in which the tape was kind of I wasn't aware that the tape was a lifeless object. So, like, yeah, the tape or Andri, I was perceiving them the same. So, that's it. What your penis is?
No, I'm showing the tape. Yeah, to
You have to
illustrate.
Okay. I was going.
No.
Was it still? Oh no. So I was still exploring different ways of moving, and then in the first session within the standing position, moving myself from gravity to gravity and see what's the effect of the standing there, and then what can you do while standing. And it's funny that level 0, like the neutral gravity, was the most difficult to not have a conscious choice on what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So in the other gravities, it was more like or I was just surrendering to gravity, or I was like trying to find the balance all the time, and then you don't have to think of what comes next.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm very much thinking about what is decision making in what we are working on in this thing, and this huge thing. Because if you go through time, then you are an object in time, and you can whether stay there forever or, I don't know, go back, forth, down, up. There is a zillion possibilities. And in the second session, with the metronome, you kind of tap into this flow, which you also didn't. There is no thinking aloud, or it was like, no, then this, and then it's going this, and it was kind of symmetrical and repetitive, but also not strictly. It just came naturally that it was this kind of, because when you have a swing, it's also like once you start something, it just continues on and on and on until you forcefully stop it. And you think about, then I was thinking about what will do I have then still in this kind of initiation of energies, flow, and then yeah, I know. So.
And how was it when you had 2 metronomes?
When I had 2, when the second came in, I wanted to extend myself a little bit more. But still, in the second session with the metronome, I was not standing upright, but I was laying, like seeing what was the difference in there. And with the second metronome, I was expanding, like maybe I don't know, I suddenly had this feeling also to join all of you in moving around in space, but still like couldn't really get up. And then I noticed that, well, maybe my body didn't get up, but I was listening to you running around, and that my mind was with you in a way. So, yeah. Yeah, just by listening. I mean, you don't. Then I realized you don't have to actively participate in everything, in every time spent around you, but you can also like maybe divide yourself and get out of this vessel. And not to control the body, but to open up a bit. Yeah. So that's my way of looking for a home, I guess.
Also a way to preserve energy when you don't know if there's enough sources.
Yeah.
In a way.
Huh.
It's like a vegetable state.
Yeah, you still have a connection to another human, but yet you reserve your energy because you don't necessarily have to run with them. You just connect to them.
Instead of that, you build like memories from what your physicality.
But it's cool that this metronome brought all of us together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Next.
Really?
Shit, okay. Again, I'm not... Everything's all over the place, so I don't even know how to... Okay. I've only written down about the tempo rhythm part. So, okay, so as soon as I heard the first tempo, I accessed the jar learning to focus, which was basically you zoom in to an object that you want to consume, and then you slowly zoom out and then find a point when the vision is the most clear. So when the focus, like the distance between your eyes and the object, is the most clear, and then you zoom in again and you just repeat it until you find another object that you want to investigate or consume. This word that Julia and I had a bit of a discussion, because my idea of consuming an object and her idea of consuming an object was a bit similar but different. But anyways, yeah. And then I realized, because with this first tempo we didn't have any variations. It was just constant. And then I kind of slowly developed my own rhythm, but then it was changing depending on the object, obviously. Because some object it took me longer to zoom out, because the longer the distance it was better to see it, and some object it was better if I was zooming out shorter, so it was a shorter distance. And then so I was basically doing like bum 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 bum, or bum bum bum, or bum bum bum, 6. It was like varying from like 1 to 3, 6, 7, yeah. And then I was so, and then when the second metronome came, before that I kind of realized that I was also breathing in as I was zooming in, and then breathing out slowly as I was zooming out. So I was kind of, in a way, I guess I was syncing my external sense to the first tempo. But then it's a bit tricky because it's related to my vision as well. So it's not entirely physical, but then because I was doing it, and so it was kind of like my internal and external tempo. And then so this kind of was embodied in me. So when I even turned it around, and even when I was not actually perceiving any object, I was still doing it like like I was doing this as I was moving around. because when I was stuck on one wall, I literally did this to everything. So I was like, oh, okay, I want to move around, and then I just did that. And then when the second metronome came, I think I made it my internal, but more like emotional, I guess, tempo, because I kind of the first tempo kind of became way too strong physically for me to break away from it in a way. And then it just stuck. But then this second, like slightly faster metronome. So I don't know. I just became slightly more like agitated when I was doing it. And then also I think like seeing you guys and then you guys doing other stuff slightly confused me. But then like all I could do was to just like try to see stuff better. So I was just doing it, and then. Yeah, so basically I was doing that, and and then it also gives you a bit of a mind fuck because it's quite technical, but and then and then because you've been seeing so many things like close, and then I had very difficulty seeing the distance. So when I turn around, for example, this kind of area, it was way too confusing. So I couldn't really understand the space. So when I was too confused, I would just like go back to. It was a safe choice to go to the floor and like find a dust and then do this. And then I did it with Patricia's ankle once. But then I didn't go too close, just in case. But I wanted to do it other, like you and Andri, but you guys were like active and jumping later, so I was like, okay. So floor again, dust, hair, and then and then I wanted to also, because Julia was fascinated by the tape, I also wanted to do like see the tape, but then it ended. So
the story was kaput.
Yeah, and then if we had a longer session, I think I would have developed more, maybe to more like a relationship to the tape or you guys, but it was enough time for me. But still, now I think this jar for me, I think I don't know how strong this will stay, but this tempo might be kind of stuck with this, but then I don't know if it's good or bad, but.
You mean in the future?
Yeah, like whenever I'm doing learning, this is my learning to focus jar. So I have a feeling that maybe not exact tempo, but I think I'll at least like zoom in and out and in, like this kind of thing might stay. I think. I don't know if it's a good or bad thing, but.
I think it's good to just delve into something.
But it really helped me to delve in that way.
Yeah, I was thinking when my father was in his coma, when he woke up, maybe it's partly because his eyes aren't very good, but for him it was easiest to focus on his hands. He was fascinated by his hands all the time, or something very close. So maybe it's,
Okay.
That's easier to grasp instead of the entire world.
Yeah, it was very too much.
Yeah. That's right.
But I actually already told it.
Your voice is penetrating, so you don't have to worry too much. This one will get. Okay, this is a nice angle.
So, I use sensing as a starting point. So I use sensing as a starting point. To get also my purpose for that was to get in a loop. So I did the same two things as last week. One was like touching, the other one was like making this movement on the floor, going from the. I think I went from minus to plus one, or minus 1.5 to plus 1.5. So a little bit variety. And then the music really, I think it was still with music. No, it was before. I already started the one before with this. So I continued when the metronome was doing. So then I did this to forget. No, I remember. Yeah, I was already doing that like in the exercise before, to prepare myself to forget. So by the time we started doing the other exercise, I kind of forgot. So I sat there, and then I suddenly got a memory, but like in a very abstract form, which was weird because I forgot everything. So this metronome number 1 kind of induced this nervous tick that I had to do, which reminded me, that's where actually the memory came to, that something was out of the ordinary. So I played a little bit around with this. Then the function of metronome 2 is because I was falling asleep at a certain point, like literally. Not because I was bored.
Yes, of course.
Not because I was bored, but because I was relaxed. So I used the second metronome to avoid falling asleep. So now we go back in time. So during the sensing, I also found this piece of tape, and then I got the memory from the writer who wrote on his fridge like, "This is not normal." Because he wanted to.
This is a book you read in real life?
No, it was a piece about what a guy. It had to do with Trump, with hypernormalization, with what is truth and what is not real.
Okay.
It's pretty recent. And he just told me he did that like 5 years ago, because every day the truth is changing, and he needed something to relate to.
Yes.
That told him the not the future but the past self told to the future self, this is not normal. And this I find very interesting, because it's about like knowing and forgetting, but somewhere deep inside there's still all those memories.
Yeah.
Somewhere. So this tape became. So I came from the nervous sound, that which was just like the channeling some kind of this seed, putting the seed there that something. This tape became like the memory, what the guy wrote on his fridge. It's like just staring at it. But then the second metronome came in, and I was staring at it against the heater. And then I fell asleep, and I had to wake up, because I had to keep on watching the finger, not to forget. Of course, I could just fall asleep and wake up, but then I was afraid, like a child is, the phase where the child gets really sad when he or she has to poop for the first time. Somebody told me this a few days ago. Wow. I'm sorry, cannot help it. So I kept on focusing, and then the way you two were moving around also gave me the idea that I had actually to find this thing around my finger, the thing that was not right. It was not so concrete, but became more and more concrete, that it was not normal.
That our movements were not
normal. They because for me it also looked like you were like, I don't know, I felt really like we were sinking in a way in the, I don't know, the repetition or I don't know what it was. And then I started looking for it. First I used the light, the sun was going down, so I was probably on the other side, where the light is. Then by the time I was in the light, it was not there. And then I think you started moving like, and I also suddenly had the feeling I had to go look for it. And I got like this home thing, want to go home. This thing suddenly popped up in my mind.
So. That's because I was into it. That was my purpose.
Yeah.
I also got it, I think, subconsciously.
And I think it's that restless tempo.
The second tempo.
Yeah. So the second metronome, this was being taken over by the walking.
Yeah.
And so like this. This is not normal. And then you came to me and you
not to you, but to your
you assaulted my finger.
The tape.
The tape on my finger.
Hello.
But
it was good because it forced a verbal reaction.
Yeah.
Because I was actually thinking, I was not thinking, but I don't know. But I was a bit like, okay, if I'm going to do this right now, it's very much mimicking, and I don't want. I just notice I get very silent and I don't have the urge to use my vocal cords.
Yeah.
Also because they're so penetrating, according to some people. Anyway.
I mean, it's good.
I'm just kidding. I'm really not.
It's good to have
A penetrating voice.
It's good.
It's fucking scary. So, but this was a really good force for me to use the voice in an authentic way, because I was saying it to myself the whole time. This is not normal. By staring and also to keep awake. So it was good. You really brought it out.
It's your finger.
Hello.
It's your
Sorry.
finger because it was so obvious that you were finding an answer with that finger. It was so obvious that finger holds something.
Yeah, it became like a shrine or like a grail.
So I wasn't expecting to make any noises, but I just wanted it to say something, and that hello.
Yeah. But I realized I couldn't explain because I didn't know. I only knew because of the walking and because of the metronomes, basically the first metronome. Just made me nervous. So yeah.
We have to redo this at some point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.